How's it going, everyone? I'm Donovan and this is How to Happy. In this video we're going to be talking about building resilience instead of taking offense. So I want to start off with kind of an example. Let's say that you're 6'5", right? If a stranger came up to you and said, "Hey, you're short," how would you feel about that? More likely than not, you're just going to be like, okay, that's the opposite of the truth. Whatever, it's not really going to bother you. Now let's contrast that example with, let's say that you're a little bit overweight and a stranger says, "Hey, you're fat," right? How's that going to make you feel? More likely, it's going to make you feel a little bit more negative, right? You're going to have more of a reaction and it's going to be a little bit more hurtful. Now let's take that example up a step even further and say instead of, a stranger calling you fat, it's one of your, close family members. It's your sister. Your sister calls you fat. How are you likely to feel if that's the case? Well, most likely that's going to actually cause the most pain because it's someone that you actually care about and that you think cares about you or that you want to care about you saying something that's potentially hurtful. Now, the question here is, how can we have such a wide range of responses to comments that are all seemingly negative, right? If someone calls you short, if someone calls you fat, if someone calls you stupid, all of these are negative comments. However, depending on the context, we can feel very differently, right? If it's a stranger and it doesn't feel true, then it's not gonna hurt at all. If it's someone we really know and care about and it, kind of feels true, then it's gonna be more likely to cause a really negative reaction. Now, what I wanna talk about today is building your internal resilience because all of these comments are negative. The difference is how you internalize these comments, right? The difference is how much value you put on who's saying it and what they're saying, and then you let that affect your feeling. And you can see this because of the range of examples that I just gave, right? All of these comments are the same at face value, but the way that you interpret them for yourself is what determines whether or not it's hurtful. First of all, we all intuitively know that just getting upset isn't really a useful tactic, right? We know that if, our sibling calls us stupid or something, that isn't going to change if we get upset about it. Nothing's going to happen. We all know that, yet sometimes we still let it happen. Now, the good news is we have control over how we interpret and process information that other people give us. We get to control whether or not we're taking offense. Now, one easy mental trick you can use to break this down is to think about the intent of the person. So if someone comes to you and calls you fat, for example, if their intent is just to hurt and belittle you, you can disregard that comment because why would you want to listen and internalize the comments of someone who is intentionally trying to bring you down? Now, the alternative is that they actually have good intentions, right? That they're, for some reason, calling you fat because they think that it's going to help you in some way. Now, they're using a very misguided approach if they're saying things to you that are negative and hurtful. However, their intent is good. So what you can do is try to understand the intent, even though the message has been communicated in a way that's absolutely not the most effective. But for example, still going on this thing, if they were to call you fat, you can understand that what they're worried about are other things, right? They're worried about how attractive you come off to other people. They're worried about your health. They're worried about these other things. Now, again, these may or may not be values that you actually want to uphold, but it can be easier to digest the message when you think that their intent is positive. And again, if you think it's negative, then why would you internalize that? You don't need to take that in yourself if you think that other people are intentionally trying to bring you down. All right, now, obviously this is a little bit easier said than done, right? If someone that you know says something rude to you, the quickest reaction for the vast majority of us are to be offended in some way. So to combat this, we need to work on both identifying these comments as they come in and breaking them down, as well as working on our own self-worth and confidence in other ways. So for example, something that you might do is regularly reflect on your accomplishments, right? That's one way that you can build up this reserve of self-confidence so that when someone says something negative, you can not have it affect you as much and then start breaking it down and try to understand their intent and go from there. There's a lot of other techniques that you can use to build your confidence, and it doesn't necessarily matter which one you use, but the important part is to divorce your feelings as much as possible from what these other people say, right? You want to get to a place where you can observe the comments kind of from a distance, break them down, and figure out more of what's going on than simply the content that's coming to you. Again, these negative comments, depending on where they come from, all kind of have the same content. However, it's your interpretation that changes how good or bad you feel about a certain negative comment. You will never be able to control what other people say or do. The only thing you can work on is your reaction. So by keeping this top of mind and really trying to combat those feelings as they come up, right? So if someone says you're stupid and you feel a certain way, then you need to get back to the root of the issue. Is it that you're interpreting their actions in a way that is hurtful to you? Is it that this is something that you're sensitive to and you need to build your self-esteem around that topic? Dig a little bit deeper and it'll be easier to digest a lot of these types of issues. I hope this idea helps build your resilience and self-worth a little bit more. If you have any cool techniques that you do to build self-confidence or resilience, I would love to hear them, so let us know. But let's move on to the exercise section. So for this video's exercises, number 1, think of a negative comment you've received lately. What was the intent? If it was good, chalk it up to poor communication. If it was negative, don't let it weigh you down. 2, try one technique for increasing your confidence today, either the one I suggested or one of your own. Hopefully this gives you a few ideas for building resilience instead of taking offense. Controlling our reactions is one of the best ways that we can increase our happiness because it's not as dependent on how other people act. That's all I've got for this video, so as always, if you have any questions, comments, topics you want me to cover, throw them down in the box below and I will get to them as soon as I can, and I will see you next time.
You can check out more content at howtohappy.com. Also, don't forget to subscribe so you can stay up to date on the videos. We've also got a Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook that you can check out. Reflect, take action, and enjoy life. See you next time.